Alright guys, what is up? It is Shin, and today we have something really interesting to talk about. Today we're going to be talking about the buffs for the 4 characters in Honkai Star Rail starting in 3.4. So we're going to look at their current kit, and then we're going to compare it to the new kit. So the varying degrees of these changes can change from character to character, but let's go over those together. Alright, so starting off, let's just go over the characters that are getting buffed. So we've got Blade, Jingliu, Silverwolf, and Kafka. I put them in this order because it's from hype to least hype from the characters I'm interested in to the characters I'm most hyped about. So let's just get right into it, starting with Blade. So Blade is a character that his biggest issue is he suffers from dual scaling issues. So for example, all of his attacks as of right now scale based off of his HP and his attack, mainly his HP though. So it does feel a little awkward because if you build him pure attack, you're losing out on some of his damage. Like for example, his basic attack is 40%. So it feels awkward building him because of his dual scaling. And that was his biggest issue. Now let's go over let's look at his items real quick. So his E1 ultimate deals additional damage increased by to a single target up to 150% of the HP lost during the battle that he tallies up. Tallied HP is capped at 90% of his max HP, and it's reset after his ultimate. His E2, when in his hellscape state, he gets more crit rate, 15%. His E3 and E5, we're gonna go past the E3 and 5 because they're the same on every character. When his HP for his E4, when his HP drops below 50, increases his max HP by 20%, stacking twice. And then his E6, the number of charges is reduced to 4, and his follow-up attack deals additional damage based on his max HP. So that's already a thing in the game where they kind of realized it was a problem, but they just made it his E6 where HP, it's just pure HP scaling. Now let's go over his kit in the update. All right, so this is his as of right now, his beta tested kit. Deals 50% of his max HP. So it seems they adjusted this and made it pure HP scaling, which is something people have been asking for a very long time. So it's really cool to see that they actually listened to that. And then, okay, so they fixed it by making all of his stuff scaling. And I forgot to go over his ascension traces. At 50% or less, he gains more healing. When he hits a weakness broken, restores his HP, and his final ascension trace increases the damage of his follow-up attack, which is pretty good, but not great. Let's see what those are now. So increases the damage for his first one, increases the damage dealt by the talent's follow-up attack by 20%, additionally regenerating 15 energy. His second ascension trace is if Blade hits a weakness broken enemy after using Forest of Swords, he will restore HP. So this one stayed the same. This one is the same. Okay, so and then for the third one, it's when his HP is at 50% or lower. Increases the healing received by 20%. So the biggest change for his ascension traces is his first one, or this first one right here, where it increases the damage dealt and gives him more energy. So he's able to use his ultimate more, which means he can use his ultimate more, draining more of his HP and being able to capitalize on that HP buildup, that tally that he uses or he builds up with his enhanced basic attacks. Now let's check out his Eidolons. This is a good change. So now I'm kind of happy that I lost the 50-50 to him for casters. Blade's enhanced basic attack and ultimate, so they added the enhanced basic attack to this. Additionally, deals increased damage to one designated enemy with the increased amount equal to 150% of the tally of Blade's HP lost during the current battle. And then it resets once he uses his ultimate, which is fair. I think that's fine. His E2, when in Hellscape, that's the same. So it gives him more crit rate. 3, 5 are the same. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So these all are the same except for this first one. But I really think this first one is arguably the most important, just because now that he is able to be obtained via the 50-50, more people are going to have it. than before. Like for example, I had E0 blade, now I have E1 blade. This is really good, and now I'm considering using him, and that's the biggest thing, really. That's the biggest thing with these buffs, is we're gonna want to use these characters because they're getting buffed. And also, you know, if you are curious, if you want to read for yourself the differences, they do offer the differences between, so like for example, his enhanced basic right here, it says 40% of his attack and 100% of his max HP. This just says 130% of his max HP. All right, so now we're moving on to the next character that is getting buffs, and that is Jingliu. Jingliu is my alt account's first main limited 5-star DPS. I do have her signature light going on that account, and I am very, very looking forward to using the new Jingliu buffs on that account. But let's get over her kit and see what she does now. So right now, her basic attack deals 50% to enemy, or it deals, it's just a basic attack. This one's not leveled, it's fine. Deals damage equal to Jingliu's attack, and then gains a stack of Syzygy, however you say that. And then when she's in her transmigration state, she deals 187% based on her, or deals damage based on her attack, and it is a blast attack. It doesn't use skill points. That's going to be the same. Her talent is going to give her the transmigration state that buffs her crit rate to up to 50% when it's maxed out. I don't use Jingliu on this account as much, so I didn't building it or leveling it up. And then when she uses her skill during the spectral transmigration state, she siphons HP from her allies to buff the damage, and that is capped, and it's up to 3 stacks. And then after that, she leaves it. Her ultimate gives her a stack of Syzygy, and then is just a, you know, a blast attack as well. So let's go over her ascension traces. So this first one is when in transmigration state, increases effect res by 35%. That's a pretty good one, honestly. If they get rid of that, I'm gonna be disappointed, but I assume they won't, because that would be a huge nerf. Transcendent flash, it gives her an action advance of 10% when she uses it, and when in the transmigration state, increases damage dealt by the ultimate, which that's important because best case scenario, you want to go into the transmigration state and then use her ultimate, because you get that 20% damage buff and you get that 3rd stack, so you're able to cap that out and you're able to get more turns with it. So let's go over her eidolons real quick. So her E1 is going to be when she uses her ultimate or enhanced skill. Jingliu's crit damage increases by 24% for 1 turn. If one enemy target is attacked, the target will additionally be dealt ice damage or attack, 100% of her attack. Her E2, after using ultimate, damage increase of the next enhanced skill is 80%, which is awesome. 3, 5 are the same. We're not going to go over those. During the transmigration state, the attack gained from consuming teammates' HP is increased by 90% of the total HP consumed from the entire team. The cap gained this way is 30%. And her E6 is when she enters the transmigration state, the Syzygy stack limit is increased by 1 and obtains 1 stack of Syzygy. When she is in the transmigration state, she gains 50% for damage. So she's actually, her E6 is actually very good. I like her E6. But let us see how she holds up with the buffs. Let's check it out. All right, so now that we are over here to check the buffs, you know, just to show we are in the enhanced version. A big change that you'll notice if you read it is all of her scaling is changed to HP. This is a weird change in my opinion, but I also get it. It's just really weird because she's scaled off pure attack. So it's just a really weird change, but HP scaling is becoming more and more prevalent. So especially with like Tribby, Hyacinth, them giving max HP and that stuff, like it's just, she's gonna get buffed that way. So I think it is better now because Tribby and Hyacinth are just absolutely cracked. And then deals damage for max HP. So this is all the same. And then let's read her talent. So she gains 2 stacks of Syzygy. She goes into the transmigration state. Crit rate is increased by 50%. And then it changes her skill to an enhanced skill. She siphons the HP of her allies. When in the spectral transmigration state, Jingliu gains 1 stack of Moonlight when consuming allies target HP. Each stack of Moonlight increases Jingliu's crit damage by 44% up to 5 stacks. That's absolutely absurd. So some quick math. Let me do some quick math. I'll put it on the screen here, but it is going to be an absurd amount. So Jingliu can't enter the spectral transmigration state. until the current transmigration state ends. Suzuki stacks can stack up to 3 times. When it becomes 0, she exits the transmigration state and removes all moonlight. And then her traces, her ascension traces. First one, when in the transmigration state, increases damage dealt by the ultimate by 20%. That is the same. After using Transcendent Flash, additionally regenerates 15 energy. That is a good one. That is so much better than the first one, to be honest, because it allows you to get more uptime with her ultimate. And then this one is the same as well. When in the transmigration state, increases effect res by 35%. For E1, when using the ultimate or enhanced skill, Jingliu's crit damage increased by 36% for 1 turn. Moreover, addition deals 1 instance of ice damage. That is the same. And then her ultimate one is the same as well. So I think they're not going to mess with the Eidolons too much, because it seems like these are just the same. Okay, I'll just say it here. So they did change the E1. And I think that's going to be a common theme with this game, or with this, is that they're going to be changing the E1, but not messing with the other ones. So it's a very minor change. It has a higher increased crit damage and a lower instance of ice damage scaling off her HP. So I think that's a very fair trade, because it increases her crit damage even further, which it almost feels redundant at this point with how much crit damage she's getting. So you're really going to want to make sure you stack as much HP as you can possibly get on this lady. And I will try my best to test these characters when they come out. So if you are interested in seeing that, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Which character you are most looking forward to for these buffs? But now that we've got these two out of the way, I do want to go over the 2 characters I am the most hyped for. Next up, we have Silverwolf. Now, this character is a relic of the past, if you will. This character was absolutely insane in 1.x, especially during the beginning half, and because her ability to implant weaknesses to enemies just allowed you to brute force through any content in the game had to offer. Now, let's go over her traces. So her biggest issue is her single target focus. So in game modes like Pure Fiction or even in MOC, content is just being more AoE or blast centric. So her kit is not as useful because you want to take out the mobs as well, especially with some of the newer fights. Having it be where if you don't handle the adds, you're gonna have a hard time. Well, let's get over her kit. So her A1 extends the bug duration, and when you inflict a weakness break, she has a 65% chance of inflicting a bug. And then her second ascension increases the duration of her weakness implant. And then her third one is if there's 3 or more debuffs affecting the enemy when the skill is used, the skill decreases enemies all type res by an additional 3%. So it already increases it by 10%. So that's 13% basically. So the talent is just is just the debuffs, so it's attack, defense, or speed. And then her ultimate is 100% chance to decrease the target enemy's defense by 45%. And then her skill is the weakness implant, and then reduces the damage res. So as we discussed, the 10% all type res. Then let's go over her Eidolons. So her E1 is going to be after using the ultimate to attack enemies. Silverwolf regenerates 7 energy for every debuff the target enemy currently has. This I think is going to change. My prediction before reading it, I have not read it. My prediction is going to be this is going to change. If they change it, I am hoping they make it AoE. And if they do, this gets adjusted to kind of tweak for each enemy hit. I could see that being a reasonable change to that. And then her E2, when it enters battle, reduces the enemy's effect res by 20%. That's actually really cool, but so 3-5, they're the same. E4, using her ultimate to attack enemies, do quantum damage. A quantum additional damage equal to 20% of her attack for every debuff currently on the enemy, and this can be triggered a maximum of 5 times. This I could see them being changed if it is changed to AoE, because this is a single target. So it's kind of more fair to scale it based off each instance of a debuff. And her E6, for every debuff the enemy target has, damage dealt by Silverwolf increases by 20% up to a limit of 100%. So she can double her damage, which is really absurd. But now that we've looked over that, let's go see what her actual buffs are. All right, so now we are in her updated buffs. Let us look at what she does. She has 120%. So the base chance to inflict a weakness is raised, increasing the res by 20%. I believe that's better. If I'm wrong about anything in the video, I will correct it on the screen. Actually, I just checked it. That is not it. That is the same. And then, so this is all the same. And then there's a 100% chance to further reduce the all type res by 13%. So that is changed. It went from 10, now it's 13. And now her ultimate, there is a 120% base chance to decrease all enemies' defense by 45%. So they made her ult AoE, which is really interesting. I kind of wish they did something with her skill to make it more blast, but I don't know what they would do without, you know, just ripping Anexa's skill or talent and putting it on Silverwolf. But, you know, Silverwolf did it first, so she, you know, she deserves it. But her ultimate being AoE is absolutely awesome. Especially, you know, for my ult account, I have Silverwolf on my Acheron team because my Acheron is E0 on that account. Having Blast Defense Shred is going to be absolutely insane, especially when you stack that with like Pella or maybe even Cypher, for example. You know, it's going to have a lot of possibilities, and like I said, I will be testing these, so if you are interested, you know, make sure to look for that. And her talent, this is the same, the talents are the same. Ascension traces are for every 10% of her effective rate, she increases her attack by 10%. That's actually really cool. That's actually really cool because it allows her to deal more damage, rewards you for porting effective rate, which I think is really cool for some of the other Nihility characters like Zhao Cho and X1. Immediately starting the battle, she gets 20 energy, and then she gets 5 energy at the start of her own turn. So it allows you to have more uptime with her ultimate because that is something she really struggled with. And that is why most people recommend before the tutorial mission starts over her own signature light cone because of the energy issues she has. So that is going to be really awesome. That's actually based as hell for that, and extends the duration of bug by 1. And then this is basically the same. Her E1, which is, I think we're just going to go over the E1 because so far everything has been the same. So after using her ultimate to attack an enemy target, any enemy target, the wolf regenerates 7 energy for every debuff that the target currently has. I wonder if this is going to be up to 5 times, but it's just in total. So if you have 3 on one and 2 on the other, if that'll still count, because that'll be really interesting. So I hope to see more clarification. If you guys have a better understanding of that, please leave a comment down below correcting me, because I am just a waifu enthusiast. I collect the characters. I love Nihility, so please let me know if I'm wrong. But yeah, so that is going to be it for Silverwolf. Our little hacker is going to be eating really good this patch. And last but not least, we've got Kafka. She was my first main. I have gotten her signature light cone and I got her E2, so I really hope they don't mess with her too much because I really like her kit as it is. There were a few things that I wanted changed, so I'm really nervous because this may or may not be really good or really bad for me. But let's go over her traces. Her basic attack is just her basic attack. So for her ultimate, she just deals damage and detonates the shock that the current enemy has. And her skill allows you to detonate all of the dots that the enemy currently has. That is where her kit goes. That's her gimmick. She detonates dots. And then her talent is a follow-up attack. She performs a follow-up attack when any ally uses a basic attack except for herself, and it applies shock. So that's really cool. But her ascension traces are so her ultimate detonates the dots with her ascension trace. So I was right but wrong. Okay, so this just allows her ultimate to detonate the dots, and then if an enemy is defeated while shocked, she gains energy with this ascension trace. And then her last ascension trace, the base chance for target enemies to be shocked increases by 30%. So she gives herself more chances to inflict her own dots, so she doesn't need to rely on effective rate as much. Now let's go over her Eidolons. Her first one, her E1, when the talent triggers a follow-up attack, there's a 100% chance to increase the dot received by the target by 30% for 2 turns. And her E2, this one I'm extremely scared about because I went for her E2 just because of how good it is. When Kafka's on the field, dot damage dealt by all allies increases by 25%. So between these two, you're just dealing so much more dot damage. It is absolutely absurd. And I'm really scared because I like this buff. I like this effect, dude. And that was why I pulled for it. So we'll just have to wait and see. And then 3-5, you know the drill, they're the same. When the enemy target takes damage from the shock status inflicted by Kafka, she gains 2 energy. So this again helps with her energy needs, allowing you to detonate more. The shock inflicted by on the enemy by the ultimate technique or follow-up attack has a damage multiplier increased 156. All right, guys, I am nervous, but let us switch over to the updated build. All right, guys, I am just as nervous as you guys are. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you guys don't care about Kafka. If you like Kafka, make sure to like and subscribe to this video so I can know all of my Kafka/Nihility enjoyers are here. And then so her attack is the same. Her skill is deals damage and then detonates the dot, so it allows you to just detonate the dots, which is same. So her ultimate deals damage to all enemies who become shocked and take damage from their current dot debuffs equal to 120% of their original damage. Shock lasts for 2 turns. Her ultimate has the detonation built in now, so I wonder what they're going to do with the ascension traces. So her talent, after an enemy or after Kafka's teammate uses an attack on a target, Kafka immediately launches a follow-up attack and deals lightning damage equal to 140% of her attack. This can be triggered up to 2 times with 1 use recovered at the end of Kafka's turn. They changed it so it's not just a basic attack, which is really, really good, because I think that was just, it sucked feeling like you had to have somebody use a basic attack somewhere, which you usually did, but it allows you to do it more often because it can be stacked, or it can be triggered twice. Her new ascension trace is going to be after using ultimate, Talon's follow-up attack regains 1 trigger count and causes all dot debuffs the target is currently under to produce damage. So now her follow-up can detonate the dots, which is really freaking cool. That is heckin' awesome as a Kafka enjoyer. It allows her to detonate more, so it pushes her more into that niche of using her in dot comms, because, you know, whatever people say, if you're using crit cut, you're doing it wrong, and I look down on you just a smidgen, but not enough because you're also using Kafka, so, you know, you're still based in my book. And then her plunder is the same, gains 5 energy when enemies are defeated when they're shocked. And her third ascension trace, when allied targets' effect hit rate is over 75%, increases their dot damage dealt by 75%. So I wonder if this applies to her, I might have to tweak my build a little bit so I can get her more effect hit rate, because my Kafka's effect hit rate is very low. Let's look at it. Yeah, it's at 40, it's at just under 50%. So I'll have to fix that if that's the case. But her Eidolons, when using an attack, there's 100% base chance to cause the target to take 30% more dot for 2 turns. Again, this one is tweaked because it is just an attack instead of the follow-up attack. So that is very good. Oh no, this E2 is really, I am not. When the talent triggers follow-up attack, Kafka's attack increases by 25%, and this can stack up to 2 times, lasting for 3 turns. I'm not gonna lie, I'm sad about that one. I really liked her E2 because, like, this is basically the same. So I don't know why they changed this one. Like, there was no reason to change this one, in my opinion. I think maybe it's because she's allowing, like, her ascension trace is giving more dot. Like, maybe it's because of this right here. But I don't know. I just liked the 25%, like, unconditional dot buff. Like, I thought that was awesome. I liked that. I thought it was cool. It was fun. Now, this probably isn't as bad as I'm doom posting it, because, you know, I like reading when Kafka's on the field, dot damage is increased by 25%. It's just a satisfying thing to read, especially because, you know, it was a very good incentive to pull for it when I got her. So that is going to be it from me, guys. Let me know what you guys think about the buffs for either of the characters, or any of the characters rather. So if you want to see more about this, if you want to see more Star Rail content or ZZZ content, like, comment, and subscribe, letting me know what you want to see, because I will, like I said, I'll be trying to test these characters, and I try to test characters as I get them in Zenless on Zero. So make sure to stay here for that, and the next video should be talking about Archer, Saber, and Finon. So if you are interested in those 3 characters, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and to be look out for those videos. Bless your polls, and peace.